Alright, next thing we're here, I'm going to talk about the screen. One of the more notable things about this laptop, not only does it have the Optimus technology and a lot of other really nice features for this model season, but we do have the option of being able to add a full high definition 1920 by 1080 screen for only $60. And to this, it's definitely well worth it, folks. One of the things that you'll see here is that as far as glare screens go, this is probably the best that I've seen. Direct light's right behind it, very little glare. It's pretty rare that I can actually aim a camera directly at the actual screen itself here, and you'll see very little of what's going on behind. You'll see a little, but as far as glare screens go, this is pretty outstanding. The other thing that's pretty notable about the screen is that it also is extremely bright. Black level is good, color is very accurate. It also has pretty outstanding overall viewing angles. We get about 90% brightness up to, I would say, maybe 140 degrees from top to bottom. And the panel itself, for some people who are interested in knowing this, does lean back to about maybe 130 degrees. So for those of you that want to use that feature, side-to-side viewing angles, we're going to get, once again, until we're nearly parallel with it from view, we don't get a lot of wash. I see about a 10% drop at maybe the 70 degree mark, and then that same brightness will stay until we're almost at 180 degrees. So very outstanding screen. For those of you thinking whether or not you want to go with the 1366 by 768 or the 1920 by 1080 screen, I would definitely encourage you to go with the latter. As you can see, bright, very bright, gorgeous screen. Also, I'm sure some of you are wondering what does a text look like on a screen that is this small with that high of resolution. It's not bad. I've got pretty poor eyes, and overall it's not too small. That's a concern I think a lot of people have, but I think once you see the actual screen itself on here, you'll probably agree that it's pretty reasonable when it comes to its actual image size and font size. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and talk about some of, as you can see, the internal components of the NP5125 from Sager. Very unique about this is we've got access to most of the internal components, if not all of them, that you could upgrade or update. We'll start off here, top right there. You can see just a standard hard drive bay. It's just covered over. When they'll come with the actual hardware if you didn't want to order it with a hard drive. Otherwise, it'll come pre-installed with that. We'll move over here. We've got, in this particular model, the opportunity to go with a standard wireless card, which is going to be probably on a Theros 9285 or 9850, something, one of those two. This particular one here we've chosen as the best wireless card, the Intel Advanced N6300. As you can see, we do have 3 antenna for this, and in this price point, that's also phenomenal. As some of you probably read, performance on the 6300 is by far better than even the 6200, which is another option on here if you want to save a little bit of money. 6300, basically 450 megabits per second throughput, dual band, quite a bit more range. It's just overall a pretty awesome awesome card there. We've got our chipset, of course our BIOS, little battery there. One of the things that I'll note here that's really important to know, that I noticed when I was taking this apart, which obviously is only 4 screws, it isn't too bad to pull apart, as you can see. This particular piece just kind of, the screws came off, but never seen this before. They've actually attached the fan to this outer lid here, so when you're pulling it off, be careful not to pull too hard. You normally think, oh, I gotta rip this off here, but no, you don't want to do that. Otherwise, you risk the chance of pulling out one of these really delicate wires here. And they've done a pretty good job of actually gluing them in, I think, to avoid that from happening. But as it fits on here, I just pulled this little guy out from right over here. We've got, of course, a pretty nice bit of copper for what we have in here component-wise. The overall temps, and we'll talk about these here in a little bit, but the overall temps, when I was running various gaming programs and different benchmarks and stuff on it, I really never saw the GPU rise over 70 Celsius, which is pretty awesome, and the CPU stayed under 60, well under 60. So overall, so far, pretty impressed with how well this keeps cool and the overall kind of design of it. We've got our CPU here, which, as you can see, there are no break me and your warranty is void stickers. It's just, they kind of give you the option of being able to upgrade it at a later time. You've just got 3 screws there, 3 more here, and then this piece will pop off and pull out of your little bay here. They can come, of course, with standard cooling, which is probably just going to be a ceramic strip similar to these little guys here, or IC Diamond, which we'll offer on there at a pretty reasonable price. This is something that you can do yourself later. Here we have our Bluetooth. So we have access to that if you choose not to install it, or if you do, that's up to you. Of course, in our RAM slots here, there are 2 of them. And let's see, overall, I think that's probably about it that you can see here. But it's easy layout, very easy for you to do upgrades on in the future. Sega doesn't really complain too much if you're going to start, upgrading CPUs or whatnot. As you can see here, of course, unlike some of the other Sega units, the GPU is built into the motherboard, so it is something that is definitely not user upgradable. Okay, the next thing we're going to go over here is some of the temps we've seen on the NP5125. Overall, like I said before, its cooling system is actually pretty good. Most of the time we're running some of these high graphic, whether it's tests or whether it's actual games, for half an hour, 45 minutes or so. We've seen really not get GPU temps over much more than 70 degrees Celsius, which is pretty good. CPU temps stayed anywhere between about 48 and 60. So, overall, it's doing a pretty good job of getting rid of its heat. It's been running now for about a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. So what we're going to take a look at here is just some of the temps on the keyboard. We're going to start top right and kind of move our way over. Overall, it's doing a pretty good job of, as you can see, this is where our GPU and CPU are. So we're getting into the mid-30s here on the top part of the keyboard. Where your hand rest is, though, as you can see, we're starting to decrease here. It's not bad. Low 20s as we get over the edge here. Maybe a little bit of higher 30s, but that's also where our output is. As we make our way over here, low 20s. So you've got a pretty decent cooling system in this, especially for its class. We'll sneak over here. Oops. See what kind of temps we're getting out of. That's right. Here we've got it kind of hidden under there on the bottom. Let's see if we can come up with a temp here. So even what's coming out of the fan, still keeping it around 34 max there for our temps.